Okay, now we're ready. We got our notes. We're at the right page. I hope you're on the same page as me. I hope some of you are on the same page as me. So, what I want to talk about here, it's kind of urgent. You know, like, we think that we've been doing yoga for all these years, around since the 1920s. The Western people of the world, who are so very loud and so very imposing about their ideas on what is what, and what is good for us, what we need, what we should do, all of this stuff. Guess what? Could be wrong, could be inaccurate, could be incomplete information, could be absolutely not as healthy, as helpful, or as efficient as it could be. So what we've got going on here is yoga. So I have been practicing yoga since I was a small child, and I did not even know what I was doing. I did not know it was yoga until I was 11 years old. And then I realized there was this thing called yoga. I thought I was developing a health practice for keeping the body in good shape, keeping it flexible and strong. I thought I was developing my own practice and program when I was a child, when I was like 10 years old. Right before I discovered that yoga was a thing. I had been looking at calisthenics, not calinetics, but not calisthenics actually, so calinetics. So calinetics and calisthenics are similar but different. So calinetics is using movements in a little bit more of a fine way to articulate movement, to keep flexibility and tone, and it's a little bit more gentle. And then calisthenics is, you know, like push-ups, pull-ups, handstands, being able to do like handstand to seated, like transitions that are very powerful, upside down pull-ups, and pull-ups themselves. You know, all of these things are calisthenics. So, and these became yoga as well. Calinetics and calisthenics both are tied in to the physical practice of yoga asana that we have become so accustomed to and have grown so fond of. But there is so much more to physical body practices for yoga, such as we have hasta vinyasas. Hasta vinyasas are joint rotations. These are hasta vinyasas, things like this, you know, just this is actually like part of Sukshma yoga also. So we have subtle yoga. Subtle yoga works with things like the joints and just kind of still some more joint rotations. We also do things like spread the fingers out and you inhale and exhale and make a tight fist. You know, these are also parts of yoga. There's so much going on with the physical practice of yoga that it is very, very easy to make a whole franchise out of that and to become very distracted with that and to invest a lot of importance in that because it has physical results, and we like physical results. We like our bodies. We like to look good. That's fine. Nothing wrong with this. But there is so much more to yoga to make us mentally and emotionally healthy and happy and strong, and I mean, not even strong physically, but strong mentally and emotionally. And so I'm just going to go over a little bit of what the Ashtanga, the 8 limbs of yoga, actually all entail. So first, Anga is Yama. Yama is our restraints, the things that we should probably keep eye on and keep control of in regard to our lives, so we're not running out of control, so we are not just all over the place with our desires and our needs and our impulses. So the first one is ahimsa, which is non-harm, non-violence. So what goes into ahimsa is not just being vegan, being vegetarian, or like not punching anybody, not being mean to anybody. That even gets a little bit closer. But nonviolent communication ties into it, which is already an existing practice in the West that's being used in service industry, especially hospitality and nursing in particular, because nursing is a life oriented service. It's there to preserve life. So, when you are nonviolent, all living beings and cells in your body are also nonviolent. If you're truly encompassing and embracing nonviolence, your whole being is a nonviolent being. The workings of your body are in more of a harmonious way. It will affect the way your organs work, the way the cellular material of your physical being works. And all of these other things do too. The mind is going to affect the body. So this is why it's so important that we look at all of the limbs or angas of yoga. So next one is satya, truthful, honest conduct. Being totally honest is very important. Once again, it will affect the cellular matrix of your body, because when you have a good line of ideas and thoughts in your mind, and everything is actually cohesive, coherent, makes sense, is logical and to the point, and there's no storytelling of fabulous measures of augmenting or adding on more than there really is in real life, just keeping it pure and simple, straight truth. This is actually very challenging for a lot of people. For some reason, a lot of us are just so tempted to add in something else that might make us look better or feel better about ourselves, or whatever it is. We don't need to do that. Not when we're in the company of people who also love the truth and appreciate the value of it, and are honest themselves, and they strive to stay in that field of honesty. Unfortunately, a lot of people are punishing honesty because they can't handle it. They have a very difficult time with the truth and reality, and I feel like this is why a lot of people keep on revisiting this judgment of God thing, this judgment day thing, this don't judge, I don't judge type of thing. It's well, maybe it's because you are terrified to find out that you have been stealing from yourself, you have been dishonest, which brings us to the next of the yamas, asteya, which is non-stealing. So when we say non-stealing, it is not just not shoplifting. It is not just not taking some money out of somebody's wallet or mugging somebody, which of course is a terrible thing to do. Don't do these things. Don't victimize people or businesses. It's not fair. You're taking investments away from people. You're taking livelihood from people. You're making people sad. You're making people worried. And as much as we like to have things for ourselves, you shouldn't just take somebody else's things, because that creates a lot of emotional problems in people. People do not like that. Nobody enjoys being stolen from. And you know what? Your spirit does not like when you steal from yourself opportunities to become a stronger, happier, more wholesome, whole in yourself person. If you are stealing from yourself opportunities of growth and development and enlightenment, that is something that only you and you yourself are going to have to reconcile about. You're going to have to reconcile with your subconscious mind, which we might as well say is your higher self and God, because your subconscious mind is always watching what you're doing, and as long as you are dishonest and trying to make up stories about how amazing you are when you're really struggling and you're not doing well, hey, that's your cross to bear, right? That's something that you're going to have to carry. You're going to have to cope with the byproduct of, the consequences of. So the next one we have for the yamas is brahmacharya, which is sexual continence. Sexual continence is not necessarily going to have to be celibacy. It can also be just keeping all of your affairs in order, but you really actually don't want to have affairs. You don't want to have affairs behind people's backs. You don't want to be a cheating person and lying to your lover or partner. Would you like that for yourself? I don't think you would. I've never enjoyed it when I've had partners who've decided to do something behind my back, and then a friend of mine who he had done that with, oh, she tells me, you know, it's like, oh, okay, you know, like this is not, that's not helpful. No one's going to be happy with that. Even the people that have done the cheating, they're not happy with it. The people who have cheated with the person who has done the cheating, they're not happy about it, especially if they know that they were a party, you know, to that particular crime of the heart, you know, because it is a crime. It's very, very unfair. It's very hurtful, which brings us back to ahimsa, the first one. Don't harm, you know. So brahmacharya also is tied in with not harming somebody. A lot of these things all unite at one point. They're all part of just becoming a wholesome, happier, more complete human being. This is what yoga is about, is completing yourself and becoming an exalted and perfected human being. You can perfect yourself. It's possible. Perfection is a mode of progress. It's not necessarily ever going to be validated in this world as a final state. I don't know if it will or can be, but you know, this is what yoga is. Yoga comes from the word yuj, which is yoke, which we are yoking ourselves to the absolute, to the truth, to reality, to that which is the supreme personality of Godhead, which is reality and truth, thatness, suchness, sat, you know, as the Sikhs say, satnam, you know, Waheguru Satnam, you know, they're just talking about how God is truth, which is a beautiful thing. So what else do we have going on with brahmacharya? And then I wrote also keeping your Shakti contained so that it may serve your higher power and goodness. You know, because if you are allowing your Shakti, your sensual energy to leak all over the place, you're not going to feel like really very focused. You're not going to feel like you can be like able to meditate for long amounts of time and just be happy. You're not going to feel like you can't look at a naked woman without wanting to masturbate, or be touched by a woman without wanting to orgasm. You're going to feel very taken out of your center all of the time. This is why I'm trying to quit massage. You know, I don't really want to do massage work anymore. I would like to get back into teaching yoga, but I have to teach it on a deeper level than what it's being offered as, because it's just what I am being called to do. I cannot feel right just teaching asana lessons in a studio, knowing what I know. Okay? So the next one is aparigraha. This is still in the yamas. We're still in the first limb of yoga, you guys. Aparigraha, non-clinging. This is non-hoarding also. It is non-coveting, non-possessiveness. It can include excess pride and arrogance. You don't want to be excessively prideful and arrogant, because in that you will be clinging to your ideas about what you think is good and right and helpful for things. You will be clinging to all of this so-called knowledge that you think you have. It may not even be true. Some of this so-called knowledge that you have may just be popular information that still needs to be cleared, and it's not actually helping us. And so there is a lot of popular information out there that needs to be cleared because it is not helping us. And I want you guys to know that. There's a lot of memes and messages, adages, things like that that just do not help us, that we would be better just letting go of. Like, oh, nobody's perfect. You know, like, sure, that's great, but at the end of the day, you are responsible for your conduct and how good it is, you know, like the quality of what you do in this world. It doesn't really have to fall back on, oh, nobody's perfect. You know, you can also say, oh, I've made a mistake and I can do better. You know, you don't have to say, oh, nobody's perfect. You know, anyway, moving right along, egoic clinging to information. That's what that was all about, you know, and doing it for the sake of being right, to get a win, you know, and this is all part of parigraha, which is a byproduct of our egoism, you know, when we are just, nope, I cannot be wrong. No, you know, like, yes, you can be wrong. You are mortal. You make mistakes. You know, I make mistakes. I'm still mortal. You know, like, it's just the way it goes. You know, we have to work on that. We have to work on that, and there you go. So this was a good 15 minutes already of limb 1 of yoga. So thank you for listening to me about the first limb, which is what? Yamas. So we'll get to the second limb in the next video. Have a beautiful day. Namaste. Oh.